Welcome back, all our 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ.
And I'm Lane.
And we are here, sitting on a couch, to talk to you about this weekend's battle rep. We planned to, weekend's tournament. We planned on playing today. But then Sunday night hit, and we realized we're two old men. And we're tired, very tired, after a GT. And so we decided we were just going to come, hang out, talk about the weekend, talk about the results, talk about our games, and all around what we feel moving forward with not only our list, but maybe even some of the current meta. So, without further ado, let's just get right to the results of this whole thing. Lane, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What has 2 thumbs and goes 5-0 with Pantheon of Woe at a GT this weekend?
No, not me.
This guy. Bam! You see that right there? 5-0, Pantheon of Woe at the GT this weekend, bringing home the glory to the channel. But wait! That is not all the glory that has been brought home.
No, it's not.
Oh, no. Because where there's one, making them sit up, there's 2. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ding. Don't break our trophies. Lane and I, for the first time ever in playing 40K together, took first and second at any event. RGT, RTT, I would say RGT. RTT, GT, doesn't matter. We took first and second. Brought home the glory, the gold, and the silver, which is weird because you play Custodes, I play Grey Knights. But,
yeah, I mean, if you want to trade, we can.
Yeah, no, not really. But we did it. Awesome moments there. We took first and second. Here, I'll set this over here for you because you're going to move and it's going to fall. And we don't need that breaking. But yes, Pantheon of Woe, as the title of the video. Pantheon of Woe goes 5-0. If you guys saw a Tactical Tortoise video, there's quite a few Necrons that went 5-0 this weekend, had undefeated records. Your man DJ was one of them. And in my path to glory, I ran into Lane.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I think when we played my Librarius and your Satans on the channel, I think you won by 4 points.
Yep.
And you know what? And we played Purge the Foe when we played on the channel. And guess what, guys? DJ and I avoided each other until round 4, which was Purge the Foe. So I had to play against 4 Satans and Purge the Foe, and he won by 4 points. So
I played a lot more evasive that game, which we'll talk about that more later. I played a lot more evasive in this game, this rematch, because I knew that Lane was going to have some tricks. We'd already played this game. We'd already done this. And we were playing each other day 2, round 1, so the 4th round. So a time that actually this was major destiny because we were supposed to play each other round 1. And I went up to the TO. I'm like, dude, this is the one guy I play all the time.
I've played this guy 50 times this year. So
Right. And so, but they were cool. And that's something. If you go to a tournament and you do play against someone all the time, like the first rounds, yeah, they'll switch it up. Usually, if you register your team, which I keep forgetting to, since I don't use apps a lot for 40K, except for build rosters.
Battlegrounds is really happy about that. You're neglecting to put your team.
I wore the jersey though.
Right.
I wore the jersey in the picture. Perfect time. We'll put the picture up there. There we are. Lane, myself, and our good buddy Yusuf. Yusuf took 3rd place. Congratulations, Yusuf. Good weekend for you as well. And but yes, I'm in my Battlegrounds and board games gear for that event. I just keep forgetting to do that. They changed BCP so many times, and I didn't do enough tournaments, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ed. I'll remember to do better.
Yeah, do better. Jeez.
Do better. Yeah. But but great weekend. I mean, I can't complain.
I think we should talk a little bit about our lists.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Because in case people haven't seen, maybe they're just
this is true. Yeah. So, Lane, why don't you lead us off with that since you're making a suggestion?
So, in the local chat about this tournament, there were like 6 Necron players that were going to be there running the Satans. It sounded like there were going to be a whole bunch of them. So I just figured what would be the best way to beat them. And I tweaked my Ultramarines list in the Librarius Conclave. So Ultramarines we know are good, but I was running them in Librarius and taking 30 Stern Guard just to kick out as many devastating wounds as possible. So the list was actually a lot of characters. We had Rabute Gilliman in there to give us the 2 Oath targets because we're going to go after using 30 Stern Guard. We were all hit some wounds into Oath targets, so we need to have at least 2 of them. So we had Gilliman in there. We had the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, of course. We had 2 Librarians, one of which had the Fusillade enhancement, which makes his unit anti-vehicle, anti-monster 5-up. So when his Stern Guard unit that he's leading shoots, they're going to do dev wounds on 5s, which is a big deal. Then we have Tigurius. Tigurius is a fun model to put in there too. I don't know in the future if I'll still keep him, just because giving your unit a 4-up invuln from the regular librarians is real good. But then, and then we did have Uriel Ventress to give one of those Stern Guard squads deep strike. We had a drop pod for one of the Stern Guard squads. We had the 30 Stern Guard, 3 10-mans, all with the Stern Guard bolters. We have, oh, now I'm going to run out of gas here. We had Wardens of Ultramar, Blade Guard vets, did have a 3-mana Victrix Honor Guard for Uriel Ventress to lead. We had a squad of Jump Pack Intercessors. We had the regular Intercessors, and we had a Inquisitor that was leading the Intercessors. And I think we're going to do a separate video about that this week on some of the fun little interactions with the.
Don't spoil the tricks on that one.
Yeah,
those tricks are for the kids.
Yeah, that was fun. I'll talk a little bit about some of the fun stuff we did with that. But that was the list. A bunch of different ways to do mortals. Obviously, with the Stern Guard kicking out mortals, especially the unit with the enhancement, doing anti-vehicle monster on 5-ups. Plus, with the detachment has a sail, which is a really good, essentially extra grenade strat that works at 18 inches. Plus, we had a few other things in there, and just kicking out the damage to actually be able to take down Satans. Speaking of which, what were you running?
I was running Catans. 4 of them. Pantheon of Woe. Pantheon of Woe being the detachment, the new one for the 500 worlds, that gives you an additional AP buff for all Necron units if enemy units are within 6 inches of a Catan. You can boost this to an additional 3 inches by taking 3 mortal wounds on that Catan. For my list, I had the Nightbringer, the Void Dragon, the Deceiver, 1 Transcendent Catan, and of course, one of the most meta picks, a Night Scythe, because aircrafts, gotta love them.
Of course, the best unit in the game. Best unit type, I guess.
Filled it with 10 Immortals with a Plasmancer, and then 3 squads of Flayed Ones, 2 5s, and a 10. And last but not least, Ophidians to hold the backfield and jump around the field late game and jump on objectives, which I now come to think of it, I think you're the only person that I picked them up against. Mm-hmm. During our game, I'm like,
I had sticky objectives and I left. I have to go put every single unit I had into friggin' Satan.
So for my list, just some like Lane mentioned with his big tech, with being able to dish out devastating wounds. With Catan, this got 16 wounds now, toughness 11, 3-up save, 4-up invuln, 5-up feel no pain, -1 damage. Deceiver has stealth, deep strike options. I mean, I'm like thinking,
plus
like,
in the Pantheon of Woe,
anything?
No, in the Pantheon of Woe, then the Deceiver has a Vect Aura, which
yeah.
really affects things because the way you have to take down a Satan is with every possible weapon in your asset. So if you get close and try to use a shooting strat or close combat strat or throw grenades or tank shock, it's all going to cost 2 CP going after the Deceiver. Mm-hmm. And plus, even the Night Dragon, I don't know how much it came up, or not the Night Dragon, the Void Dragon. I don't know how much it came up, but his special ability in the Pantheon is that he points at a vehicle and then it's -1 to hit, or if it fails battle shock, it's -1 wound, which is just another defensive buff on top of there.
A handful of times and usually failed. Usually they just passed the leadership check and it was ignored. So not a big deal there. Just with that. Not to mention also a big part of it is like the way that I played the Void Dragon out of it. Not typically, he wasn't really having line of sight on things because if I can see them, that means they can see me, and I don't want to be seen. I just want to come running out there and start smacking stuff with his tail and spear and eating vehicles and stuff, which had a lot better luck with the Void Dragon. His numbers were much more average. It wasn't me just failing to eat everything and throwing 1 spear. I was actually getting more better numbers out of him. Not that I needed as much, and I'm not trying to be egotistical because we're going to talk about that more in a bit on how these Catan actually performed over the whole weekend. But yeah, it was a great tournament. It was a great time. A lot of fun with the guys there. A couple of them had talked with Lane and I. We'll probably try and get some games and set some stuff up here in the future with them to do some work and maybe get some battle reps with those guys as well. It was, like I say, it was a great time. Plenty of room in the store. Carpeted. You know how much I love it when there's carpet involved. That was great. Rolling chairs, so I could just like sit there and roll from table to table once I found the comfy chair. That was great. Never realized how much I wanted that in my life. And yeah, plenty of terrain. Nothing but positive things to say on that aspect of it. Plenty of room, plenty of
I love
space.
North Coast. They've got a really good setup. And the community there is awesome. So they built a really good community of players there. So good vibes, good tournament setting. Not like one of those places where it's a warehouse where you have to shout all weekend. So my voice is still fine, even though I played, 5 rounds this weekend. So
I'm straggling a little bit, but just a mild bit. Like I had that little straggle to it. But yeah, it was definitely the environment was good for it. So I think that's really it. You got anything before we jump over to our games?
No, it's game time, I think.
All
Let's
right,
talk about
so
games.
well, hopefully I can get chapters in this one. That's something I'm not very strong with, but we'll get these in there. So now we'll jump over into like our games from the weekend because those of you who don't know, in the GT, you play at least 5, sometimes 6 games over the course of 2 weekends. This was a 5-round GT, which ended up with a result of only 1 undefeated player into it. I think there was a possibility that there could have been 2, but that got knocked out. Because there was someone who played up, so there was a possibility of 2, but this ended up with just 1. One man stands alone, and yeah,
I'm so glad it didn't go to your head. Jeez.
no, didn't. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it takes real skill to pilot Catans, let me say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, well, game 1. So again, game 1, Lane and I were supposed to play, and asked the judges, like, dude, this is the one guy I play all the time. Listen, I haven't gotten to go in a while.
I should have played you round 1. We wouldn't have to play against Persian foe.
There you go, yeah. But then we bypassed that, so we skipped. So for me, round 1, I played into World Eaters, Demonkin, nonetheless.
Yeah, you know a thing or two about that.
I think I've dabbled with that army a bit. This was, what was his name? Brogan. Thank you. I love the guy just because even when we were joking around with it, he was like, "Oh, what's your name, Brogan?" He's like, "It's like bro. It's like Logan, but I'm your bro." He's like, "I'm everyone's bro." I'm like, dude, that's amazing. I love it. So my bro that I played round 1 was playing Demonkins, Juggernauts of Corn, Scarbrand, bunch of 8-bound, no shooting at all, no Forge Fiends, nothing like that. He's like, I thought about it. He's like, but I wanted to just keep pressure on objectives and build a list that could really push out and put pressure on objectives. So that's where he went with. We played, I don't remember mission 1. I don't remember any of the missions. It's going to be terrible for me.
It's probably taking hold round 1.
I think that sounds about right. So taking hold. Interesting. Probably one of the most interesting things with this is something that we didn't foresee or talk about or think about. World Eaters is a combat-based army. Most of their damage comes in combat. Aircraft can only be fought in combat by other units with fly. Scarbrand doesn't have fly.
No.
So his list actually had 0 units that could do really any damage to my flyer. At one point, Scarbrand tried roaring at it, failed, and I was like, wow, that's very fitting that Scarbrand is an old man yelling at the clouds.
Yelling up
so
the sky.
That was our joke at it, is old man yells at clouds and fails. Night Sight did amazing. It was able to fly around the field and just pick up things like the jackals, doing damage on the outside, and took 8-bound off and spawn off of objectives, and then just all around corral and be able to once again do the Nightbringer, Void Dragon, Rapid Ingress combo to hit things that mattered and clear the field. Immortals ended up in his backfield, took his home field objective, and just kind of put him to his expansion, which his expansion was further on my side. I bailed on it, got my flesh, my flayed ones out of there, and just covered the other couple of objectives and kind of sat there with just unmovable Catans. If he would have moved out, Nightbringer and Void Dragon smash. He stays back, holds the points. I outscore at the end of the game. So that was my round 1 into World Eaters. Came out with a W. Great game. Like I said, really good game. Just was very interesting interaction with the Night Scythe. No one's planning for aircraft. I'm not planning for aircrafts. I had to look up the rules on aircrafts. So that gave me kind of like a weird advantage of like, I'm going to fly this thing right here, land it here, and you can't do anything about it because you can't charge it. You shoot your plasma bolt pistols at it, but that's not going to be enough. But yeah, no, I mean, very straightforward, Catan take a lot of damage and shrug a lot of stuff off, and we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, thanks for the game, Brogan. Had a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed too. We were talking the whole rest of the tournament too on a bunch of different Demonkin stuff and everything like that. So I gave him a lot of tips and tricks into it, some stuff that I noticed that I've tried. So I look forward to playing him again in the future. Lane, round one.
Round
Fight.
one, I played against Michael. I played against Michael before at a previous tournament. I had forgotten this. I apologize to Michael. I'm so bad. I'm like, I don't remember the last time I played Thousand Suns. He's like, yeah, it was me. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. But yeah, he was running Thousand Suns. Every unit with a librarian attached to it gets a 4-up feel no pain to psychic attacks, which was really kind of shut down some of his ability to do damage because there are a lot of psychic attacks. Even if you check in the FAQs or in the rules, something like Doom Bolt, even though it's not considered an attack, it is a psychic ability, and so therefore it is considered a psychic attack. So you still get the 4-up feel no pains to that. So gave me an advantage there. We had a great time, but rolled through that and picked up the win there. I don't remember what his list was. Oh, I think he had
Vortex Mutilate Beast. I saw that.
Yeah, he had
around.
Magnus. Magnus is another tough one for me because Magnus's defensive abilities are against big stuff. Like again, he's got a damage reduction ability and like reroll one of his saves for free or something like that.
And then on top of the CP reroll, like late in the game with him, it's just impossible. If you don't get him down low early, then it's like late in the game, it's impossible to take him down.
Yeah, he's real. I mean, he's got strong defenses too, the normal type of anti-tank, anti-monster stuff. But when I throw 30 dead wounds at you, there's not a lot you can do about it. You're going to blank one of them? I don't know what. Right. So there was definitely a game in my favor, but we had a great time. Michael's a great sport, so enjoyed round one. So came out with a win there.
There you go. So we're 1-0 out of round one. Going to game two. I'm playing against Nick, and he's playing Dark Angels. First things foremost, Nick is now my new buddy. He was somebody who, like, meeting him right off the bat, me and him were picking on each other, and it was like the vibe. There's people that you run into, and you just feel like this vibe that you, like, I can mess with you and say things to you, and you're just going to mess with me back and say things to me. Dude, we were talking, anyone on the outside, if you would have transcript our conversation during our game, you would have thought we hated each other.
But did a dramatic reading of your
right. If you just
like, oh, what horrible enemies these two guys are.
Oh yeah, like you would have thought like we must have hated each other, that like we both despised each other and this game was terrible. We were having a blast. So many things, so many comments. One of my favorites was later on in the tournament. Someone made a joke to him about slow playing, and so every time it just so happened that I'd walk behind him at one point, and someone would say something about playing. So I was like, oh yeah, my second round guy, man, he took forever. He's like trying to get 4 hours into a tournament and stuff like this. And he goes and says, he's like, listen, you can't say I played slow. You had more models than me. I was like, no. I had more models than you left. You left out of there. And normally that's like jerky comment to say, but man, me and him were just having a blast all weekend. Definitely, we're talking a lot about trying to get him out here. He wants to come out and record on channel and that stuff. So yes, Nick was a great sport. We were able to joke with each other and harass each other all weekend. It was a lot of fun. He was playing Dark Angels. Very, very by the books game. I mean, he had two Demolisher tanks. Right, no, Vindicator. That's the Vindicator with the Demolisher cannon.
Vindicators, yep. 2
Vindicators, the Lion. He had some Deathwing Knights coming in. Inner Circle was there. And just like, all around just the mix of Dark Angels and what you expect to see there. It was Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is one of those tough ones where you can get caught kind of backpedaling. And he put the Deathwing Knights onto an expanded objective. And he had them there ready to burn it. But it was at that point that he looked at, because he's like, okay, I'm going to go over here and fight with the Lion. And then when the Lion dropped the Transcendent Catan and a whole bunch of other stuff, like, I swarmed it with, like, Flayed Ones and Immortals. And I swarmed him to go, I'm just going to hit you with everything till he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Then that kind of made him hesitate a bit of like, okay, hold on. Do I want to burn this objective or not? Because if I burn this objective, what am I now scoring primary on? And so that kind of held him back there. And then it gets to that point where you can only score 10 points on primary unless you burn stuff. So we're kind of just in a stalemate of, I have these Catans that you can't really hurt unless they come within your charge range. You're sitting back waiting for me to come into your charge range, kind of playing that cat and mouse game. The Night Scythe did get blown up. That was the first time I lost Night Scythe. Mortals were down there on the field, but because the Deceiver at center was MVP. He moved in the middle. You got another defensive buff there with stealth, and he just walled everything, and then brought the Void Dragon in, brought the Nightbringer in, and was able to take his home field with the Nightbringer, which is usually that's a bad sign if Nightbringer's in the backfield. And then some cards flipped in my way for like, okay, cool. Now we're going to do behind enemy lines. Okay, here we are. And then just was able to push through and get the W on that. He had a higher score in that because we did both play very cagey and defensive early on. Again, Scorched Earth, you can only score 10 other than the objectives you burn. So there's not really a lot of a point to going out there and trying to get 3 or more objectives.
Yeah, just hold your 2.
Yeah. And honestly, neither one of us even burnt objectives till the end of the game, where it was because I was in his home field, and we actually traded home fields because he was then able to, because of where I was set up and where my Ophidians were, he pushed the Deathwing Knights into me and was able to get them back there. And I pulled the Ophidians off, like, okay, here you go, it's yours. So he moved in and was able to burn my home field. I burned his home field. We traded home field objective markers. And then that was it. But was able to walk away with the victory. Was a little worried about Deathwing because they can have some crazy defensive buffs.
And he's running the Wrath of the Rock detachment, so all the infantry and bikes are all negative wound.
Yes,
and which
made a difference.
When Satans don't have a whole lot of attacks, a lot of times that can cut down their offensive abilities quite a bit. So
right, and so I was a little concerned about that, especially with the Deathwing Knights. But since I was able to get the Deathwing Knights get away from them, and this again is another point when we talk about Catans at the end of this video. I was able to look at his army and go, okay, I don't know if I can do anything about the Deathwing Knights. Because like you mentioned, not a lot of attacks, a lot of resilience. I don't know if I can do much about that.
Yeah, but they're not going to do much to you either. Because
they're not going to do much to me. Right, but then we're just going to be standing there and they out-OC me with their banner. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't want to deal with them. Now I'm able to go play the game elsewhere where they're not. And I was able to play the game and win the game by doing so. Come back to that point later when we start talking about Catans and this aspect of the Pantheon, because that's, I think, a big kind of a talking point. So we'll bring that more up later. But yes, again, Nick, man, you made my weekend, dude. Hopefully you see this video. I had a blast. I look forward to getting you on the channel and working with you again soon. Great time.
Don't listen to him, Nick. You're the worst.
See, this is what we're talking about.
Speaking of the worst, my round 2 is my good friend Yusuf. We always have a great time when we play, and we often trade back and forth. There are a lot of times when he will take the win. Sometimes I'll take the win. We were playing in a league at North Coast, and we got paired into each other first round of the league, and he beat me in the league. But this is here at the tournament. He was running Ultramarines in the Blade of Ultramar. That's why I was on my phone a second ago looking up what the name of that detachment was. And he was just running a bunch of vehicles. So what you might consider an Ironstorm list, except instead of Ironstorm, it was the other Gladius, Blade of Ultramar. And the reason he had that is because he wanted the negative wound strat that has in that detachment. So he had almost all vehicles. He had 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, 2 Brutalis Dreadnoughts, 2 Vindicators, Gilliman, and then some Incursors, Intercessors, and a couple ATVs. Score some points here and there.
And go ahead and hit this in the last one. I hear my doggo is wanting back in, so give me just a second. Lane, finish up your third and go into your third too.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. As I was saying, so he had an interesting list, and as we know from what we already said, Yusuf also did really well throughout the weekend. He ended up in 3rd place, so congrats, Yusuf. So the game. First of all, with all my infantry in my list, with almost no big targets, I wasn't worried about the Ballistus Dreadnoughts because, they're gonna kill what, 2 guys? All my all my inner or all my stern guard have 4-up involves from the librarian, so they're not, they're bouncing a lot of high value shots off there. So I wasn't as worried about them. So he kind of and he knew that as well. So he baited me out by putting a couple ballistic dreadnoughts kind of out in the open if I wanted to expose my stern guard to those. And I decided to go for it. Thanks to the double oath, I could oath the thing that was gonna kill ballistas, and then oath something else that was going to step out like a redemptor. And being that I was in pyromancy, my fusillade enhancement unit had sustained. So Overwatch with full rerolls to hit, sustained, and full rerolls to wound actually can do a fair amount of damage. So, anyways, I dropped in turn 1 with my drop pod with the anti-vehicle 5-up, anti-monster 5-up stern guard squad, and they easily just blasted the ballistas off the table. He doesn't have any damage reduction. He stepped out another brutalis. I did some Overwatch that one, did a little damage to that, and then the big the big issue, when it really turned my way was he brought in 2 Vindicators on that side to try and delete the squad of Stern Guard with the anti-vehicle 5-up, because he's an all vehicle army. He was really worried about that anti-vehicle 5-up. So he pounded 2 Vindicators into my Stern Guard squad with that enhancement, and thanks to the invuln, they were able to tank a lot of that damage. Now, he killed most of the squad. He killed 8 guys, but the only thing that was left were the 2 heavy bolter Stern Guard and the librarian. And as a result, in the next turn, the 2 Stern Guard with heavy bolters and the librarian just picked up a Vindicator like that. Because we oathed it, they were able to just delete him, get enough 2 damage dev wounds through to just make it go away. It was ludicrously powerful. Especially even if it's just those heavy bolters left. I built it to deal with Satan, where the damage reduction really cuts down the heavy bolter damage, going from 2 to 1. But in the things that don't have the damage reduction, you get 4 or 5 2 damage dev wounds going through when you get full rerolls to wound and they're doing dev wounds on 5-ups. It goes through and picks up vehicles really fast. So I was able to use what I had there, chew through his list pretty quickly. I did take down his Gilliman, and unfortunately for Yusuf, his Gilliman did not stand back up. So that was a bummer. Another little dice swing in my favor there. Gilliman's so risky. I have him, and he's so strong when he goes out and attacks, but sometimes he just lays down and dies really quickly. Only 10 wounds at toughness of 9, so he just disappears sometimes real quick and doesn't stand back up. So, again, had a great time. Yusuf and I hugged it out before and after. And he still went on to finish in 3rd place. So that was my win in game 2. On to your game 3.
Look at that. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
So just so everyone knows, got to throw this out there, how hectic it is in the Tim's household. We'll get the little halftime intermission. Not only do I have 5 kids, then there's me and the wife. The mother-in-law is staying with us, but I also do have 3 dogs, one of which is a beagle who is impossible to get back inside, never listens, is a total butthead. So he was out there. I had to get him back in because now he's like, hey, I want to come in now. He's such a pain in the butt. So sorry to run out like you guys like that. But yeah, everyone is accounted for. Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
Game 3, I played against Kyle. He was playing Tyranids. And this game was a headache because it was a long weekend and I started to get a headache. That was the only reason why.
Game 3. Long
Game 3. It got there. No. So Kyle was playing Tyranids. He was playing the Crusher Stampede. And to be honest with you, that was a game that I was actually concerned. I was like, ooh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Crusher Stampede, there's not... Okay, so what Crusher Stampede lacks in offense, in some aspects, it makes up for in really, really weird math numbers you now start having to deal with objective control values. Especially when you get around things like, I don't know, the Norn Emissary, who decides, hey, that objective right there, when I'm in range of it, I'm going to have OC 15. Just why not?
Normal rule.
Yeah, just totally go with it. But a lot of the other stuff too, like even at full health, had a boosted OC value, even just by 1. And typically a lot of the lower leveled monsters, the cheaper monsters, even for things like the Malceptor and that, have like an OC4 value or something similar. I don't have the codex in front of me, but a lot of them that fall at an OC4 value are now going up to that OC5 when they're at full health.
And your Satans are all OC4, right?
Correct. Combine that with the aspect of needing to at least do 1 damage to them to get them off that OC value, and the fact that there's multiple of them leads to a very early time frame where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to score primary on this. So that made it so that was challenging in its own right, that with the Tyranids and being able to get through that with a Crusher Stampede and their objective control value. He had Screamer Killer, a lot of stuff that honestly, it's a lot of stuff that I would expect with Crusher Stampede in general. Like I look across it, I'm like, yep, this makes sense. 2 Winged Hive Tyrants. The Malceptor's one that I haven't looked at too much in this edition. I think because of how broken he was last edition, I'm just like, we'll look at other stuff right now. But there was Malceptor, 2 Tyrannifex, one with Acid Spray, one with a Rupture Cannon, some Carnifex Brood led by Old One Eye, Swarm Lord, Never Leave Home Without Him, Biovore, even though he wasn't doing fixed, he still had the Biovore in there.
He was still good for behind enemy lines and
when they come up,
fronts,
yeah, when they came up. I mean, he was still saturating the field with those things so that he was prepared for it when it happened, but he didn't jump on it and rely on it just because one of the things he was afraid of, which actually did happen, he didn't really have an answer to the Night Scythe. Wherever the Winged Hive Tyrants were, I was going the other way. Mm-hmm. And if he goes and starts directing shooting into the Night Scythe, his limited shooting that he had would be taken away from the C'tans. So the Night Scythe was actually able to drop off, assist the T-C'tan in beating up on a Tyrannifex, which ultimately 5 flayed ones took him down. Love it. But then I picked up the Immortals, flew to his backfield, disembarked, and killed the Biovore. So he had enough foresight to see, like, hey, that Night Scythe isn't going to take out my Biovore in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to put my whole game on it and then risk it. Yeah, of course. Okay, take out the Night Scythe, put me on my butt. But it was a gamble that he wasn't really wanting to take, and that showed that it probably would have been a bad gamble because I was able to get it on turn 2 and get over there and take out the Biovore. So that would have been the whole rest of his game from turn 2 shut down on secondaries from what the Biovore could do. Mm-hmm. So that was a good call there. As far as everything else, it was just big monsters hitting monsters. And in that aspect, with what we're looking at with C'tans right now, I have more durability overall. I'm healing all the time, and a lot of his weapons that do have come in for 2 damage or D6 damage, and that damage reduction was just it was a lot. So, but early on, like I said, I was really concerned what that scoreboard looked like, and then I think it was around turn 3. There was a really strong crippling turn where the Nightbringer was able to come in. We were able to sweep everything away. Deceiver got down close to death, but then he started healing back up and holding an objective, and I was able to sweep in the center and really score the points late in the game to take that win. Again, he had another high-scoring game because, again, he was that was that game I did not break 90, and I don't fully remember the score, but I don't think I won by that much. Like it was like 80, 8 or 80, like 8 to 10 points maybe.
I'm talking about round 3 here.
Yeah, round 3 when I played against Kyle. I can't remember the score on that one.
You were 86. He was 51.
Oh, he's 51. Okay, I'm sorry, that was wrong. Probably just
sorry, Kyle was not high scoring game.
Probably. I mean, again, like early, that 51 was what he was scoring really early on, and I think it was just like I said, turn 3 after I was able to push everything down, and he didn't have much left, and he wasn't able to score on secondaries. But early on, I was getting really concerned about that. Like that score does not reflect how like I had to keep looking, going, okay, how am I going to get this OC? That Battle Shock strat definitely came in very crucial. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Pantheon of Woe has a strat that I can target a unit in the command phase once per battle round and make them take a Battle Shock test. And if they fail it, they take it on -1. But if you fail to take mortal wounds, but the most important part about this is that can flip objectives for point scoring. And that was crucial. I don't think I did that to you this game. I did that 3 times over the tournament. Once, I think, during mine and Nick's, and then this was another time, and then I have one other that I did. But their stratagem is such it's one that I love. You know, I love my Psychomancers for this exact same reason. Because it's just like if you have that extra CP, you can just go, okay, I'm going to try to stop you from scoring points, and those are points you can never get back. So,
and also throw some mortal wounds on you too.
And throw some mortal wounds on you too.
D3+1 is no joke.
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't. So I definitely love that strat. That strat's great. But again, great game. His army, Kyle took best painted. Beautiful, beautiful army. He had some Tyranids. They were very.
It was a bumblebee theme.
Bumblebee. Was that what he said?
I think that's what someone else said that. But yeah, they look like bumblebees. There's a lot of yellow and black stripes and stuff there. It was very cool.
Yeah, it looked great. The bases looked amazing. He had really tropical bases on them, and everything looked great. Great looking Tyranid. So gotta give respect to someone who sits down there and puts some beauty in their bugs.
Mm-hmm.
So that was me for round 3. So I close out day 1, 3-0. I think I finished second overall. There was one person ahead of me. Who was ahead of me after day 1?
No, that'd be me. So my round 3, I played into Jay, and Jay was also running Necrons. He had 3 Satans, and he was in the Star Shatter. So he had 3 Satans. He had 2 DDAs, a Triarch Stalker, I think the Hexmark with the
3 Doomsday Arcs. That was 2.
I don't remember.
There's 2 Doomsday Arcs.
There's 2 of them.
Stalker Wraith.
Triarch Stalker. He had a Brick of Wraiths. And
then some other little. There was other things like Hexmark and the scoring units and stuff like 5 late ones and some of the stuff that we Necrons use just to tag stuff.
Mm-hmm. So in that match to start off with, I make sure people know that the drop pods can drop in turn 1, and I'm putting in the unit that has the enhancement for it. But he did leave a spot where I could drop in the drop pods and shoot the Void Dragon. So right off the bat, round 1, I took down his Void Dragon. I threw the Psychic Grenades to do a couple mortal wounds, and then shot him into the Void Dragon to finish him off, and started kind of a cascading effect because he didn't pick any. I don't think he picked up anything of mine in round 1. Next turn, he put the DDAs into my Librarians with the Invulns. It's just a weird, it's such a weird interaction. You're shooting this super high powered gun. It's D6+1 shots. You got blasts, so you're getting 2 extra for blasts into those units. But the fact that these little Marines have 4-up Invulns just means a lot of times that stuff bounces. So he tried to shoot them down. Next turn, I picked up a DDA and a Triarch Stalker and just rolled through the game. I just had, within the first 2 turns, such had a damage advantage above him. I picked up 500 points, I think, before he really picked up anything of mine, and I was just able to push through the rest of the game. So we had a good time, good game, but he had 3 Satans. I was able to take them all down and finish them off. I had a pretty good score. I think I scored 96 on that game. I took Fixed in that one, even though he only had 3 Satans, but he had a Hexmark. I think there was a Techno attached to the Wraiths, plus he had the DDAs and the Hexmark, and I think he had a Reanimator. I had so many vehicles I could take down, so I was able to score pretty high on that one. So strong win there to finish the day. I was in first place. Wasn't going to stay there. Wasn't going to stay in first place. Are you saying
so? Yes, because I think your damage cap is 3 Catans. Is it 3 Catan damage cap? Moving on to day 2.
Apparently.
Moving on to day 2, Lane and I looked and we knew going home and coming back where we were placed, where we were positioned, and what fate we had in store. Lane and I were meeting round 1, round 4, day 2. First,
purge the foe, guys. I'm friggin' purge the foe against 4 Satan. I have so many characters on my list that every time he kills a unit, he gets 2 kills for the unit and the character. Ugh, gross.
So knowingly, we both went into this. I knew that we played this matchup before. Something that Lane and I try not to do before tournaments, but this was preempted. We both were kind of wishy-washy on exactly what we're going to take. So kind of both of us try. It was tough because we both knew each other's tricks going into this. So I had a hunch. That he was going to do something tricky. He did. And I had some stuff that I was going to put. I had in my back pocket that was going to be tricky. I didn't do it. It ended up being very straightforward for the Necrons. Land things, charge things, smash things. Deceiver sits at the middle, gives Lane the finger most of the game. And in the let's hear. I want to hear from your side of this.
I don't like Satans. That's my side. No, it was a very good game. We both played it very well, both cagey enough. I'm sending out smaller units to kind of tussle at first. My incursors moved forward and took out. I might complain about my dice in this game a little bit. But my 5 incursors went out and took out all 10 of a squad of flayed ones.
Oh,
no, the flayed ones. Yeah.
Oh,
they moved in the middle and just the 5 incursors picked up all 10.
I zoned out a brick where I had them. There was a piece of terrain, so I had it arced on the walls, so that Lane had no choice, but he had to go around to charge and get to my flayed ones. So if you
I tried to turn 1 and failed.
Right.
But turn 2, I was able to get him in.
And then I had the Deceiver and the Void Dragon position. So whichever side he took into, one of those were going to be there. And he took the one side and ended up having to pile into the Void Dragon. So the Void Dragon picked them up in response. But I was like, oh, okay, there's 10 dudes there. He's got 5 incursors. I'll probably have like 2 or 3 left when it's over. No. No, they were an oath target, so full rerolls, they get sustained. He got 11 wounds, and I failed 11 saves.
Yeah.
All of them. So the flayed ones went bye-bye.
Yep, so it was a very cagey match. Even though I'm complaining about having to play against Purge the Foe, we tied on primary, right? Throughout the game?
Yes, we did try.
Yeah, we ended up tying on primary.
We had 2 8s and 2 12s.
Yeah, you just outscored me a bit on secondaries because I was able to pick up 3 or 4 Satans. The Transcendent went down real fast. He took 3 wounds from when you did the expanding your aura thing.
Yep.
And you didn't make any of the feel no pains. So when I dropped in the drop pod with the Stern Guard with anti-vehicle, anti-monster,
he had feel no pain.
Just deleted him super fast. I didn't even fire the whole unit.
However,
so that went in my favor. And then trying to deal with the
Deceiver just sat in the middle and took his...
So gross.
He took probably Lane's full army worth of shooting 2 rounds in a row, and just at the end of it, he's like, okay, still got like 7 or 8 wounds remaining. I mean, he was just...
I had to charge the last Stern Guard squad in just to go, oh, and that friggin' Deceiver and his sniper ability is awful.
Mm-hmm.
He deleted one of the librarians out of my squad with a shooting attack. Mm-hmm. He just gets anti-infantry 4-up dev wounds with precision, so he can just, because now that it's 2 damage, you can just delete a character, 4-wound character, pretty reliably.
And then that means there goes the 4-up invuln, and I can just go and smash. So that was crucial too. And that was like, again, us actually, from where we played before, our first game was probably a bit sloppy because Lane was shaking off the rust on Librarius Conclave and figuring out what he wants to do into stuff and not really sure what Catans are going to do. And me, let's slap the list together and put this thing together in a night. So our first game was very sloppy. This one was very, very technical. Very technical, very crucial on a lot of plays.
We both knew what we were going to do. I took Fixed again, just because.
Which is one of the...
In Purge the Foe, I needed to focus on killing things. I couldn't have units out there doing other stuff besides killing. Even though it's possible you could run and hide one of the Satans from me. If I had other units just out there trying to cleanse or recover assets or whatever, I needed to put everything into the Satans. And I think that was the right call because I needed to put every single bit of damage I had, especially the Deceiver. In the end, I had to charge Intercessors in there without the Librarian. The Power Fist missed, and then I just had enough of the bare hands from those guys punching you to get the last wound off of them. Because he was my primary oath. It just took everything I had. And I think so. I think it was the right call. It ended up being a super close game. I think on the channel we played Purge the Foe, and he beat me by 4 points. And in this tournament we played Purge the Foe, and he beat me by 4 points, 76-80.
No, and I think like we both looked at it afterwards. I can't see anything I would have done differently. Lane doesn't really feel like he would have done anything differently. It's one of those times where it just comes down to it at the end. I was mentally prepared, and one of the things I told Lane when we played on the channel was that I could make this a real boring game and just go hide in the corners. You don't score anything on secondary. And in this game, because it was a GT, that was completely my mindset. The whole thing was like, I'm going to stay back as long as possible and only do the bare minimal I have to score primary, stop you from getting hold more on primary by like dinging these things here and there, and just conserve the Catans, because if you don't kill them, you don't score secondary. And one of which was the Void Dragon, who killed a 5-man squad, and that was it. And otherwise, the rest of the game, he sat on an objective and did nothing, but that also saved me 8 points.
Yeah, by the end of the game, I couldn't get to him, so
right.
Didn't have enough assets left. And when my Gilliman died, my Gilliman went in to try and finish off the the Deceiver, and he failed, and he got heroicked by the Nightbringer, and he got killed. Didn't kill anything. He got killed and did not stand back up, so that was a bummer. That's why Gilliman just makes me so nervous because he's just so fragile a lot of times. And if you're relying on him to stand back up, he doesn't. You're 1/3 of the time he doesn't do it.
So I'm only going to say this one time for now. I'm sure it'll come up later on in our rivalries and this on the channel. But I do have to make note to this. I have to. Lane does have me on the channel. If you go through our history of games we've played on the channel,
who would do that? Who would go back through all those and see?
Lane has the higher win-loss percentage over me with more wins. But when it counts and tournaments, I am currently 3-0.
All right, well, let me know when you get a best painted, and then we'll talk about our rivalry.
To get a best painted, I have to get an army painted. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're best painted one.
Listen, there's one time my AdMech has lined up for an Armies on Parade for a GT, and that was at Michigan.
So the first time I lost you at a tournament was the weekend Necrons got nerfed because they were like, we're going to allow the rules changes, but not the points changes. And then on that Monday, your list went up like 200, 250 points.
Oh, was that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, because that was when you were running Canoptic Court. Okay. The lone op strat was still 12 inches.
Was it
18?
Or was that? Or was that when I could still do dev wounds on Immortals? Did I play you that week?
I don't remember. No, I know specifically because I was playing my Uppy Downy Death Watch, but I had to get everything so close to you.
Okay.
Because you could just be like lone op 12 inches.
That one I don't
before
remember.
Before they nerfed it to 18 inches.
Yeah.
No, because they literally nerfed it, and it was at Battlegrounds, and Ed was like, "No, we're not going to do the changes. It's too soon." Because they just announced it a couple days before the tournament, and yeah, so the day after you beat me in that one, the list went up 200 points or 250 points, and I know
that's right. No, and I remember the Scarabs. I was able to do that was right before they did the change for OC0. Because I was able to do actions with Scarabs still too.
Yeah.
And the star I was able to use Canoptic Tombstalkers then too because they were still that was before they went out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That was a while ago. It was early
that was.
And I'm guessing that we're going to see some nerfs to the Satans here pretty soon.
Our second round was when you faced my World of Warhammer characters.
Yeah.
And 20 with the 24-point battle shock at the end of the game for like a 2-point win. Oh my god. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was crazy.
Did you want me to talk about my Secret Inquisitor tech, or should we?
No, because we got that separate. Separate.
I'm gonna do a separate video. In our game, I showed DJ some fun.
Oh, it was amazing.
Inquisitor tech with Gilliman and Inquisitor. So I'll tell you guys about that in a separate video.
So now there's that. After going outside and hiding from Lane for a minute so he doesn't beat me up.
Just had to cool down a minute, guys. I had to just bring it down. No. It's fine. I just had to breathe through it, let out a few swears, and then we can go on.
No, he just gave me the whole thing of like, now you better. He's like, if you're gonna beat me, you better go win it. That's the whole thing.
So let this not be in vain.
So we go on to the last round. For Lane, you were facing off against.
I played Ray, and Ray was running Death Guard. It was the Champions Contagion, the one where you can pick the different whatever contagion you want each battle round. Ray's a great guy. We had a fantastic time. We were laughing and joking the whole time. And there's still a lot on the line because we were playing for placings there. But I think in this case, he had 2 10-man bricks of Plague Marines that both had 2 characters attached, and he had a 3-man of Death Shroud, and then a lot of smaller units that I was less worried about. Like he had 3 Myphitic Blight Haulers, and again, into my all infantry list with a lot of invulns and stuff, they don't do that much. So he. He had like Scott Spawn, 3 squads of Poxwalkers. Hilariously, I had a 1 Poxwalker that just lived through so much stuff, denied me area denial. In this game, I
watched it. That's when I found the good chair.
I tried to go for area denial once, and he had one of the Lords of Virulence, Lords of Contagion, who'd stand back up when he dies, and so I wasn't able to get area denial. Then I kept it for the next turn, and a single Poxwalker prevented me from scoring area denial. I put so many random bolters into it, and just like. He had the neg to hit contagion up, so it was just it was hilarious. A long survived Poxwalker. Should probably get a name or something. But just because he really just had three kind of bigger hitting units, a lot of good scoring units, that kind of stuff. But I was able to chew through the big units quickly. He even took down most of one of my Stern Guard squads first, but then I was able to delete one of his Plague Marine units, and then the Dev Wounds into Death Shroud Terminators. They don't like that, guys. They don't like all the Dev Wounds Immortals I can do because they don't have a Feel No Pain or anything on that unit, so they just kind of lose those. So we had a good time. I think it was, I had 76, 74. So to his 50 something. So we had a great time. Brace got can't wait. after beating him, he's like, I want to play against this list again. I'm like, okay, fine. So even though I beat him pretty good, he wanted to play it against it again. So we'll see.
It's so unique that it's like after sometimes, and I could feel it. It's like it's one of those things that there's some detachments that I played against and you've played that it's like you play against them one time, you're not really sure what they can do, and they beat you up, and you're like, okay, so that's what it does. All right, now I want to fight it again.
Yeah, well, it's back whenever an edition or two ago when like Thousand Suns or even Grey Knights, every psychic unit had smite, so they just sometimes dump 10 to 30 or 40 mortal wounds on you before they even got to the shooting phase, into the psychic phase back when we had one of those things. So people are not prepared for that, and there are not that many feel no pains in the game still. There are some, but they seem to have a lot of invuln saves, but not that many feel no pains. There are some. Obviously, Satan's a big deal with them, but you don't see that many units that have it, like on big units or anything. Like Death Shroud, that's the 2-up armor, toughness 7.
If they do, they're usually to like mortal wounds or like
only to mortals, or something. So, but even that, even if it's like a 5-up feel no pain, there's just enough of them coming out that it usually takes it down. So yeah, it's and I was. I guess so. After we're done with DJ's last game here, we'll talk about the actual how I feel about the list, because I definitely think it has some play. It did better than I thought it would into non-stand lists, so it performed well. But yeah, had a great game with Ray. Fantastic way to finish out the tournament. And your last game, sir?
My last game for the championship, 4-0 at this point. Necrons into Imperial Guard. John
Grizzled Company.
John came playing Grizzled Company. We seen it. I faced it. I had to get the vengeance to get it with a 1-point loss that Lane hit me with on the channel.
Just the only time your Satan have lost. This list is lost. Was a 1-point loss to my guard on the channel.
Guard Grizzled Company. So you were going into this. A lot of some of the stuff I'd seen. Double Vanquisher. So that was back there. Only one Rogal Dorn. So that made me feel better because I only had to deal with the 1 as opposed to 2, which was tough. Chimera. Command Company, some artillery.
2 Hellhounds.
2 Hellhounds as well.
I don't remember what the siege guns were exactly called, but they're two of the big mortars that are the strength 12 ones. They had tank indirect fire.
Yeah. So that was what we were looking at going into this. With let's see. So this again, very paint by numbers with how the Catans went. Rapid ingress and rapid ingressing the Nightbringer, rapid ingressing Void Dragon. The Nightbringer, one thing that I was doing a lot throughout this tournament was when I would make my push with the Deceiver to center. Like you mentioned, it's like then everything goes into him. And it's like, all right, here we go. We're going to put everything into him, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as that happens, and I did it to you as well, which made you consider how you were charging, I spend a command point and rapid ingress right behind the Deceiver. So it's like, okay, I'm still 9 inches away from you, but now I'm like 4 inches away from the Deceiver. So when you charge, my heroic intervention range is pretty nice. And so now it's like...
And a lot of times when you want to heroic intervene something, you want to be able to fight first so that your unit also doesn't get wrecked. The one you heroic with, because your opponent can choose to fight into that first. But with Satan, it doesn't matter. They're not going to take that much damage. They're going to be fine. Even if they fight last, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So Nightbringer, I was able to get him in position, which was really nice because I was able to get... I didn't end up heroicing. I just let him run into me because of the Bully Grid having 2 damage weapons, reducing them down to 1. And again, that was kind of a telltale of a lot of different armies where they have, we have 2 damage weapons, down to 1, down to 1, down to 1. So I was able to get them in center, able to get them to bring everything into center, and with the Nightbringer Deceiver combo, eventually was able just to sweep everything out of there. This was a big time too, where the Battle Shock strat became very relevant to be able to reduce some points being scored. being able to target during the command phase. And then, I mean, everything else on the right flank, I had Immortals, Flayed Ones, and the Transcendent Catan, and he was able to take out the Hellhound, take out Sly Marbo, move into the Vanquisher tank, and clear that side of the field. I lost the left flank for a little bit, and then after he kind of had to pull away, and it was just like Hellhound and the Gaunt's Ghost over there, because he just kept drawing secondary cards like, oh, Established Locust. Picks them up like, okay, I guess these are going back here in your corner deployment zone. Picks it up. Oh, behind enemy lines. Okay, I guess well, isn't there another one? Sabotage. Sabotage. Oh, okay, I guess these guys are going right back down here. And then I had everything go there. I'm like, all right, Void Dragon, here's what you're going to do. You're going to land here, eat those, Voltaic those guys, kill the Hellhound. Here's the Vanquisher tank. Eventually run up and take it out. And he was able, I mean, he anti-vehicle, he's great into that category for it. And then Nightbringer just continued pushing forward and got into the back. And when Nightbringer gets into your backfield and gets on the home deployment zone, it gets rough from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This was definitely a time. My dice, this is what I was discussing with dice and how people discuss the average and go, oh, a 4-up, it's 50% of the time. Okay, that's fine. I was failing saves. I probably made maybe slightly above average on the saves in our game, maybe at that. But it wasn't about the fact of like, oh, I was only doing like 51% of them instead of 50 on even. The saves I was making, the 4-ups, were on the Vanquisher cannons, the high damage weapons, the las cannons, the multi-meltas. That's when I'm sticking all the 4-ups. And then the stubbers, the auto cannons, the
they go right through.
The those are the things that are just going right there. I mean, I'm taking more damage from las guns than I'm taking from las cannons. So that was a telltale thing with Catans, is that it's like, you can't, these weapons that are hitting me, it's like, you don't know what you're going to 4-up. Are you going to 4-up all the little stuff and just, that's it? And then you get hit by one big shell that, even though you're reducing it by 1, what's Vanquisher's D6 plus 6?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, one of those goes through, and that's D6 plus 5 on the reduction. Okay, and I take 11 damage, 11 feel no pains. That's still gonna take some damage.
Yeah.
So, but it was one of those things where it's just like, this is, I'm going to, on the opposite side of it, I fail the 4-ups on the Vanquisher and make all the 1s. Those guys are not living. They're not standing. So that's basically the tail of the tape on that one was, if I'm going to make 50% of the invulns, at least make 50% of them when they're on high damage weapons, and your Catan don't die. And I felt that over the course of the tournament, which is where we're going to get into it. When we start talking about the recap, you'll hear me feeling a lot more remorse about this, and not more like, yep, I'm the best, I'm the greatest there is, best there was, best there ever will be. No, there's a lot. I have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're a good player, but if you had run Demon King World Eaters, it would not have gone as well.
Not as simple.
I'm not saying you wouldn't have done well.
No,
but,
I could have won. I could have went 5-0. I could have done very well with it, but there is a difference with it that I felt while playing the Catans, and we'll discuss that more. But let's bask in the glory, which is us at this moment. Let's give ourselves
congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, sir.
Oh, thank you.
One last time. Here we go.
Oh, look at our little,
before we can move on. Yeah. We did it. This is for us, you got to take the pride in it. This is a great moment. One for us, like first time ever on the channel, first time since we've been playing together. We went 1-2 at a tournament. And then we also joked about it. I talked him into playing Librarius. He talked me into playing, because literally the name of my list was Blame Lane.
Yeah.
So
it feels like I should get some credit for your win too. So I really think I won like first and second place.
Well, I told you into yours, so I guess I won first and second too. So there we go. We doubled that. But it was great. It was a good week, and we both had some excellent games. Like I said, a lot of tactics still go into it. Everything still played very, very well. Like, we piloted our lists. That's why we hit these points. You can give the best meta list to a new player, and they don't do as well, and they don't win as much, and go, well, why is this? Well, there are ins and outs that we know with these lists that we crafted. There were certain things that I crafted into it. And honestly, one time that I'll say it, a lot of content creators have a lot of shade towards Pantheon of Woe and think it's a very underwhelming detachment because of like, oh, just go away from the Catans. You can't when those are the only thing on the board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a big part of the Pantheon of Woe, I think people didn't like it because 3 of the strats require a dice roll. You have your Battle Shock strat. Now, what is the range on that?
I believe it's 18.
Okay, like an 8. So you just pick something you can see with any one of your Satans with an 18 and make them take a Battle Shock test at -1. If they fail, they've got they take D3+1, but they're also Battle Shocked, and that's either command phase. But yeah, so that's a roll. There's also the Fight on Death. It's only on a 3-up. If the it's only on a 3-up. You got the auto explode, but it's not an auto explode. It's explode on a 3-up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to roll the dice.
Well, they're technically, if you guys look at it in the books, they're technically 4s. But if a unit is unraveling, it goes. Actually, I think the explosion's always a 3. It's if you're Fight on Death, if the target is unraveling, then you get the 4.
So if you're using it with a Satan, it's always going to be a 3-up. If you have some other combat unit that's not close to a
the
Satan,
shake on your leg.
No, I'm making you nervous. That's the dad in you.
Yeah, it
Such
is.
a father.
It is. It is.
There's those 3 strats have rolls associated with them, so they can fail, but they have pretty good odds, and they are so powerful when they work because fighting on death with Satan is ludicrous. It's extremely strong. Because guess what, guys? They don't bracket. There's no bracketing on Satans. You get them down to 1 wound, they're still hit on 2s with everything. And obviously, the auto explode is really strong, not just because Satans are all D6 damage or D6 deadly demise, but because in order to kill those darn things, you have to bring everything into them. You can't just charge them with your hammer. You have to tank shock, get in close and throw grenades, shoot with whatever you've got, whatever pistols, and charge 2 units in there. And when you do explode, you're hitting 4 or 5 units with D6 mortals apiece, which is a huge impact. And as we've already said, the Battle Shock is a big deal. Not just because of primary, obviously. If you're being out OC'd on an objective, you can take the objective back in your command phase by making somebody fail a Battle Shock or deny your opponent primary by making them Battle Shock. But it's another defensive ability. If a unit's Battle Shock, then in your opponent's turn, they can't use strats to damage you. So they're not going to be able to use the strats they need. They can't throw grenades. They can't tank shock. They can't do any of those things. So,
and in that same aspect, as we talk with Pantheon of Woe, and again, another boost that I think people are underestimating how strong it is, the Vect on the Deceiver. Yeah. Because now, on top of that, he moves to middle. He not only has all the defensive buffs of a Catan, but he's also stealth. Move to the middle, and so now you have this ability to reduce all the CP costs going in there. So it's like, okay, cool. Now I can't use these strats if I'm close by to try to do damage. And this other unit's Battle Shock. There's a lot that it stacks on top of it that really makes the detachment function well into it. And while now we'll kind of move to the conclusion of it, while I think there probably is some tweaks I could do to make it a little more violent, I think the flayed ones were absolute gold.
I think all your stuff is good in the list. I really think the
even
Night Scythe of the Immortals gives you a turn because the Transcendent Catan can auto advance anywhere on the table outside of 6 in this detachment, and then with that coupled with a Night Scythe has a really strong Alpha Strike ability because you got the Night Scythe, which is decent shooting. It's got 8 shots, 6 shots that are strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage, 2. Twin length, sustain 2. So they average the 6 hits. Plus, you get the extra AP from the unraveling. Plus, you got the Immortals doing their shooting. Plus, you got the T-Catan doing his shooting.
And because of the aircraft is true line of sight, so then after it eliminates stuff, one of the things that happened actually in my game with John, when with his Rough Riders, I eliminated the target in front of me, and I was in a position where his Rough Riders are behind a wall, but I got true line of sight onto him. So I just saw him, and I'm like, okay, let me shoot him. It was a 5-man squad. I killed 4. Because they're 2 damage each. So I just went, okay, here we go into them. Granted, they got their saves, but every failed save was
they're basically Space Marine scouts. Yeah. That was 4 up armor, 2 in the feet. So
and that was one of the unfortunate times where I do remember I go, okay, 6 shots. I rolled all of them hit, and 3 of them were 6s for a sustained 6 on that. So I was like, okay, well, 12 hits. But out of that, there's a couple numbers we want to talk about as we start to close out this video.
I have some numbers I'd like to ask you about, DJ. Throughout the entire 5 rounds of the tournament, how many Satans did you lose?
Throughout all weekend long. Out of all of it.
5 games, 4 Satans in each one. You had the possibility of losing 20 Satans throughout the tournament.
Three.
Three.
Deceiver died once, Nightbringer died once, and the Transcendent Catan died once. The Void Dragon did not die all weekend long. Kudos, Void Dragon. Good job, good job, good job. But the other three died. Now, there's only... How many Catan did you kill in our game, Lane?
Well, I killed 6 throughout the weekend. I killed
In
3 in
our
More
game.
Fun game, and then 3 in your game.
That's right.
So, yeah, until they do something about them, guys, we really have to. You need to be ready for the stands, and you don't have to kill them all. Like that shouldn't be a necessity. But if someone's bringing 3 or 4, you need to be able to take down 1 or 2, because that really held me back in our guard game. Even though I won that by a single point when we played on the channel, I only killed 1 then, and that really, if I had finished off 2 of them, just 2, that made a big shift in the game. So I think people need to tech for it. I think people need to plan for it. And I ask you this question: like, what do you think it is that caused people to not be able to kill them? So, what do you think? What was it?
So this is kind of there's a couple tier breakdown on this. Number one, I felt, and one of the big things I felt over the course of the tournament, and this is being all jokes aside and everything, because I talked with all the guys I played against. I talked to them afterwards, and I said, hey, I want to address this in this video and tell them about the fact that, listen, when we got game 4 with Lane was the only time I lost Catans, and that's when I lost 3 of them. Otherwise, they were alive. So, number one, this is a meta shift. Weapons need to change.
It's a total change to the meta.
It completely is. Where there are some big threats, and I think one of the things the Night Sight did help me do, being able to deep strike that in there, and like you mentioned with the Transcendent Catan jumping over, I'm able to find some stuff that I don't like and injure it or eliminate it. In our test games, I was able to eliminate one of your Stern Guard squads before the game even started right there, and that reduces what you have to bear in those early points of it. Being able to rapid ingress the Nightbringer and the Void Dragon mean that they're going to make it into your face and into close combat.
They're going to get something
when they want to be there. So those things are able to hit, tie, and tag things that when you have something like the Transcendent Catan or Deceiver in the middle, that they're getting beat up. Now we're pulling more and more of these units away from being able to do damage to those Catans that I present earlier. The Deceiver and Transcendent Catan tend to play my objective basis, and the Void Dragon and Nightbringer come in and just eat units. And when they hit those units that are really able to hurt me, now we start whittling down to the units that don't have a high strength, don't have high damage, don't have good, the weapons they need to even injure the Catan. So now it's like, okay, my Deceiver is at the middle at 6 wounds, and when you throw all the remnants you have at it, oh, you did 2 damage, then I heal. As you mentioned, they don't bracket. So one thing is those elements kind of eliminate that focus fire ability into these things. That's one. So a big thing, like I feel playing against Catans, is sometimes you're going to need to figure out how to ignore the Nightbringer that just deep struck in the backfield, ignore the Deceiver in the center, and go finish off that Catan that you started working on, get it off the field, then move on to the next one. Because yes, things like the Nightbringer, they're cost 300 plus points. They're going to do some damage. Maybe you can throw something in front of it to try to slow it down a little bit. But in a nutshell, it's going to be a lot of rapid ingress practice and making sure to focus fire down those units. Don't leave them lingering. And also, we got to change up some weapons, because now the guns and the guns, the blades, everything that we need are different. That's number one. That's on the play side of it. But I don't feel like it's all just the play side of it. When we go over into the actual rules, all tournament long, man, I felt like I was rolling way too many dice. And I mean, it's like, oh, okay, you're going to hit me. First, I'm going to make a save. Then a feel no pain. Then it drops down a little. Then I do it again. Save, feel no pain. Oh, just save. Save here. Oh, man, 1 feel no pain. I was entirely felt with those things. I was just rolling too many dice. I remember back when demons were an issue, when we was 5-up rerollable inbounds, and that was an issue because of 5-up rerollables that way.
Mm-hmm.
This is worse. It's a 4-up into a 5-up. I mean, granted, yes, the 1 4-up save could turn into 3 5-up feel no pains. That's a bit different, but it's still so many dice you're rolling. It's just so many times that it's like eventually you're going to start rolling high numbers. And the more you roll those dice, you're just going to start rolling high numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, the combination of the damage reduction, the feel no pain, and the 16 wounds that they now have just means that any swing in dice in the entire attack process that favors the Satan player is going to make all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
The hit roll, the wound roll, the invuln save, the feel no pain, at any point in that step where the attacker rolls a little lower than they should, or the Satan player rolls a little bit higher than they should, and it doesn't have to be that much. If I go at you with my Dev Sense, and we'll just say the las cannons on the Dev Sense, if I shoot my my Death Watch 6 las cannons at you from the Dev Sense, I hit you with the speeder first, so I'm getting +1 to wound, and then I've got sustained on my Dev Sense and my Death Watch because I put the strat on them, and I get 8 hits, and then I get 8 wounds because I'm wounding you on 2s and twin linked. So 8 wounds from las cannons on Satans. If you make 5 of the saves, that means only 3 go through. You damage reduce, so instead of D6 plus 1, it's just D6.
D6 flat.
Average dice on 3 dice is going to be 10. Average feel no pains. You're going to have 7. You only take 7 wounds. The strongest thing in my army in Death Watch.
But then we're also not going the aspect of what if I pop 4 feel no pains there too? Like, just like that.
And you have a CP to reroll one of those saves, and then suddenly it's only 2 get through. Like that's and saying that you have 8 Lascan saves and you make 5 of them. That's only 1 save above average. But it's enough to make the difference that the strongest thing in my Death Watch army
everything
does 7 damage to something that could just heal 3 in the next turn. Because that's when I went at your Deceiver in the tournament the first time. I got him down to 9, and you rolled a 3 on the reanimate. And it went from 9 to 12, and I was just. I think that's when my swearing started. When I was like, no, come on, that took me so much work to get him down to that. But yeah, any small deviation in the Satan players' favor just completely changes the game entirely because you put everything into it and didn't work.
One of the big issues too is where this becomes really oppressive is because of the fact of how many Catans can be taken. And this is going back to the game that I had with Nick. And we'll talk. This is what I said I was going to talk about with this. So Nick, his Deathwing Knights were something I wasn't really sure if they would tie me up with their OC value, and didn't really want to deal with that. So what did I do? I didn't deal with it. I went to the other side of the field. If you go up against someone who's running 1 Transcendent Catan and your list is not geared to take out Catans, okay, what do? Just get away from it. Ignore it. Give it some stuff to tie up. Catan don't have that much, that many attacks, so they're not really like that damaging.
Except for the Nightbringer. He's 14 on sweep.
14 on sweep,
Growth.
Yeah. But you can whittle away and slow them down that way. Okay, that's fine. But now when there's 4 or 5 or whatever it may be, you can't just stay away from them. They're in there. They're part of the game. Ugh. And so now your army that doesn't have the tools to deal with it has to figure out how to turn a screwdriver into a hammer and get rid of these guys. Because if you don't, they just continue. It's just a wall that keeps pushing on your army until you're not on objectives and they push you back. So I feel like it's not cool. We got this stuff right now. That's awesome.
You're a good player. You went 5-0. A bad player could take your list, start the game with all 4 Satan right on the front line out in the open, every single game of a GT, and probably go 3-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Like you're just not going to be like someone's going to shoot at them. They're not going to kill any. Maybe they kill one. Then they just push into your army and tie up everything and push the game. Like I think. Obviously, skill comes into play here, but it's just too much. Either they need to be more points, like 50 more points, or you can only take 2 in a 2,000-point game, or something. Or the thing with Necrons is most of the stuff has a 4-up invuln, but as a result, the vehicles have lower toughness. Your big honking DDAs, toughness 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The smaller stuff like the Doomstalkers, toughness 8. So you've got these lower toughness, so your opponent's supposed to get more wounds through. If they take them from toughness 11 to toughness 9, that's going to make a difference. But I don't know what the right answer is, but there's a lot of stuff they could do. You still want Necrons to have a good time with it because overall, in the overall meta, Necrons have been kind of struggling. So
we don't want first books released, so we've
but even when they gave them Star Shatter, like Star Shatter is so strong, everybody kind of jumped the gun on that one, maybe a little bit too early. And they over nerfed Star Shatter, maybe. Although people are still running it, but it's just like, so one Necron players have good stuff, but it's overtuned. It's just a little bit too much. even if they just took away the damage reduction, and you just get the 5-up feel no pain still.
That.
No, but that's 16 wounds. It's so. Or they only reduce damage if it's more than 2. Like I think in general in the game, damage reduction should only work on 3 damage or higher, because damage reduction on stuff that's damage 2 is just brutal. Because there's so many armies that are built totally around 2 damage. But yeah, I don't know what the right answer is, and our opinion isn't going to change anything, but there should be something. And this is coming from a guy who just
and speculating, and I do appreciate like the kind words you're giving for it. And yes, there was a lot of tech that I was using within this list. Like I obviously, if I just threw everything out there, like you mentioned, you can rip the Catans off the table. So what was different and what was I able to do? It's because I was more reserved in the play. I was very, very patient with this army because I knew I needed to hit and stick and make sure these things were going to start going in that direction in a specific way. So yes, there was a lot of technique with it to be able to still maintain and go 5-0 at the GT. However, I feel personally like at the lowest tier, the Transcendent Catan are not too bad. Yes, they can teleport around the field, but their weaponry is not that strong. They
not for 300 points. I mean, what they got like 8 strength 8.
8 with sustained
3 damage shots or something.
Yeah, they're and sustained in combat too. They're 2 damage on the shooting and D6 in combat, so very swingy either side of it. Their teleport allows them to play the missions and play the game. I feel like the Transcendent Catan does fit. The data sheet looks very, very nice as your it would be your core troop for your Catan based army. It's the 3 big named boys. I think we need to go back to an environment where it is 1 named Catan per detachment. We have other epic heroes in this. These Catan shards, I think that it should be 1 named Catan shard. I think that would fix it a lot, because then you're not dealing with a big part of it too is probably Void Dragon Nightbringer. They're both 10-inch moves, and outside of Pantheon, where Pantheon the Deceiver really jumps up in power, the Deceiver and the Transcendent kind of they play more for the mission. But Void Dragon and Nightbringer are beasts. 10-inch move, so you rapid ingress them. They have fly, so they're ignoring and able to move through stuff very easily, so you can't even block them out. And their damage is just ridiculous when it goes off. I mean, the Void Dragon, when he goes off on a vehicle, he can go and take something like an Imperial Knight or a Rogal Dorn and kill it in the shooting phase.
Your Nightbringer, he popped off and killed one of my
Vanquisher. Yeah,
he killed the full health.
He didn't even do anything. He looked at it.
It was D3 attacks. It was only in the shooting. It was D3. He did roll the 3 on the D3 attacks and just picked him right up. But it was just because each one of those is D6 plus 2 damage.
3 D6 plus 3. Even worse.
What? Yeah. I mean, the thing is that they buffed their damage output. And even though they went from having damage to reducing damage by 1, the 4 extra wounds and the 3-up armor makes a difference, because there's enough little stuff that's like strength 6 is going to wound on 5s, or getting +1 to wound, going to wound on 5s. There have been plenty of times you've been making 3-up saves against my smaller fire, especially if it's AP1 your cover. I think overall they got a durability buff and a damage buff.
I've watched you sigh when you see a 3 hit and realize that it's a save now.
Yeah.
I've seen that sigh. Yeah.
It definitely. I think overall they got a durability buff, even though the damage because there's so few big shots that if someone has some D6 plus 6 damage, they don't have a lot of those shots. No. They still have to hit. They have to wound. You have to get past the 4-up invuln, so that
guns that have that
it doesn't make that much of a difference.
No.
So I think they have the durability buff and the damage output buff, and those things combined, they're doing more damage while they're alive, and they're lasting longer, giving them more opportunity to damage. It's just brutal. Like the Deceiver just being able to assassinate characters very consistently is brutal, because a lot of times you've got serious enhancements.
I don't think I honestly, and for his points, considering his damage output, that part of it, I don't think is overpowered. I think that's okay.
It's agree to disagree. You just point out Marines have so many 4-wound characters carrying enhancements that are key to that function. You just go, you're dead. You got 6 shots or 8 shots?
6.
6 shots, hitting on 2s, 4-ups or dev wounds, precisioned.
Yep.
And all it takes is 2 to go through to kill a character that is a key part of your opponent's army. There's very little precision stuff that has that kind of consistency. we've always joked about the Vindicare assassin. He's got that one shot, so that misses. But with 6 shots, and you just need 2 of them to roll 4 ups on the wound roll, that's brutal. But anyways, regardless of that, the damage, even if they're not precision, still killing more infantry than they were before with all the 2 damage stuff. But yeah, so I think they do need some kind of adjustment. Again, still want Necron players to have fun and use the cool toys. The new models are super cool. I mean, obviously the new Nightbringer is an awesome model, but there has to be something. I mean, I miss the days in the past where you actually had to build into some kind of detachment where you had a fixed number of heavies.
Chart.
Yeah, force org charts where you had a fixed number of troops, fixed number of heavy support, fixed number of fast attack, fixed number of elites, so you couldn't spam 6 Satans and the Silent King. It would be, the kind of thing you couldn't take.
And if we got to go as far down to the sense of 1 Catan per detachment, and that encompasses a Transcendent, I mean, that's what happens. But I do think that the issue with the Catan, like, you increase the point cost on it, it's not going to change the problem. You're still going to have that oppression. If you do too much with their data slate at this point, at this late in the edition, you're either going to nerf them to not be able to be used, or once again make them even worse than they currently are. So I don't think touching them in the sense of points and their rules and stuff is where to go. It's the aspect of the volume of which you can take and how many you can take in detachment. If we reduce it down to 1 Catan in an army, now it goes into that realm of, once again, like I said, when I played Nick with the Deathwing Knights, now you can just go, okay, that Catan's over there, just ignore it. They're faster, they can do more work, but you can ignore that Catan, deal with other things, play your game, and that Catan's going to have 1 of 2 choices. If it goes running off that objective, now that objective's open, we have so many things that can get over on that objective that it's like you're going to start playing Pong with this Catan, bouncing it back and forth between objectives, and it's going to go in there and go, raw, kill a 5-man, raw, kill a 5-man, and that's not going to do anything. So, yeah, definitely do need those.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit about how to deal with Catan, because I may have come in 2nd place in this tournament, but I think I'm pretty established that I've figured out how to kill Catan.
Maybe because I'm done talking about it.
Maybe not every single one.
Perfect timing, because I was done with that. I'm done talking.
We don't want to dwell on it because
I'm ready.
Something needs to be done.
Something needs to be done. We'll see what happens. I'll play it when it's done. I'm going to put Catan down.
Because if you keep running this list, you're going to be a bully. Like, it's going to be like, obviously, like, if I have a bunch of armies, if something comes out is overpowered and I'm going to run it at a tournament, I'm going to take advantage of it because I have to play against overpowered stuff. If one of my armies suddenly gets a buff that makes it super strong, I'm going to run it for sure. But you don't want to run it over and over again, because
there's a lot.
You're not going to go to North Coast at an RTT and take this list.
Oh,
you'd be an absolute jerk trying to do something like that.
No. I did it. I made it happen. This is why I don't like running lists twice in a row. I did it. It did its job. I'm happy with it. It'll go on the shelf. There's a couple other people that I talked to in the competitive scene that I might get some games with that might want to play against it, just to kind of get a concept and a feel, because it's one of those things that everyone's got to play until they get punched in the face. And this is the big fist punching you in the face, and
the golden fist.
I mean, you definitely, I know for a fact, I can speak for you on this one, we're way more prepared for Catans because you had those 2 games of getting to see this, than just going into a tournament and going, oh, those are Catans.
Yeah, and like I said, the important thing is the math. I do a lot of the math on the dice rolls and how many should go through, but then the thing is, you're not ready for that one time. It just takes one time for the dice to go a little bit in the Catan player's favor, that it just shuts off your whole plan. It's like, yep, okay, well, okay. Oh, no. You made 6 out of 8 4-up inbound saves for my super high damage stuff. Okay. Good game.
No, I'm looking forward to messing with Necrosaur now. I got some funny things to do. I want to go back over to Cult. There's some cool things there. We also have the Cryptek Court. I want to try that out. Now that we're done with the tournament, we got a lot of things to mess with. And I know that Lane and I have been chomping at the bits to do Destroyer Cult and the Blood Angels, just to see that gory game. But for me, this is the current temporary, most likely end of the Pantheon. We did well, 5-0. Let it rest my hat on that one, move on to the next list. But that's for me. Lane, on the other hand,
So as far as dealing with Satan, a couple of things. I'm not going to say everybody should run Librarius. It's super fun, but it's going to have some bad matchups. I got a plan for a
Hashtag Lane says run Librarius.
I mean, it's great, and I think it's underrated. There's definitely some flaws in it, and it's really good in a variety of armies. It's good in Death Watch. It's good in Dark Angels. It's good in other. It's good with Salamanders. I ran my Lizard Wizards on the channel.
You're going to cause. I'm just thinking about the story Yusuf told us. You're going to cause
sell out a librarian.
You're right. Yusuf went to go buy librarians and couldn't buy librarians because he was following behind Lane, and every store he went to, oh, we just sold him the Lane. Oh, we just sold him the Lane.
Yeah, if I could buy stock specifically in GW's librarian line for Space Marines, that'd be great. But no, it's really great. The key thing is the anti-infantry 5-up on Devs for Stern Guard is ludicrous because you can. I played a friendly game against a Tyranid player. She was running the Norns, had 2 Norns, and put 1 on an objective. I dropped in that squad and I rolled hot for sure. I was the Fusillade enhancement, and we were in Pyromancy, so they were getting sustained. I rolled very hot, but even rolling very hot, to understand that I did 34 devastating wounds to a Norn emissary, to understand that when you can go hot, it goes very hot. That impact, now maybe I'll average 15 or 20, so I don't rely on it killing a Satan by itself in just one go. I'm going to make sure I have redundancies into it, but that's huge on its own. You can put it with different things, Ultramarines or other detachments. The key things to look at are a huge breakpoint is strength 6, because they're T11, and so some of the stuff I like about Librarius is that I can take good combats, mid combat squads that have a bunch of strength 5 attacks, like Wardens, Blade Guard, even the Victrix, and I have a strat in Librarius that pushes them to strength 6 or strength 7.
And don't overcharge plasma. There's no reason to overcharge. But I was reminding people they're like, all right, I guess I'm going to overcharge. I'm like, why? No, don't do that. No, don't. They're like, well, why not?
Unless you just want to blow up and get more shots.
You're wounding on 5s anyways. I'm going to get a 4-up invuln. Your 2 damage is going down to 1. Yeah. Do not overcharge. Do not overcharge. Do not overcharge into Catans.
Yeah. But
with most plasma.
Yeah. Being able to push my strength to strength 6 and getting +1 to wound in Ultramarines in the Oath target means we're wounding on 4s. So strength 6 wounding on 4s is a big deal. Especially even with the Stern Guard, if we're in the Biomancy discipline, which gives them the +2 movement, when you use that strat Iron Arm, it goes to +2 strength. So suddenly all those Stern Guard have 4 attacks apiece, just a basic close combat weapon. It goes from strength 4 to strength 6, meaning we're wounding Satan on 4s, and they reroll all wounds into the Oath target, meaning 40 attacks that are rerolling all hits and wounding on 4s and rerolling all wounds. They're going to do some damage, even though you still get your 3-up saves. You don't do anything about their AP 0. Mm-hmm. But you need to look for that kind of thing that pushes your wound ability. So pushes from strength 5 to strength 6 to do better into T11. Obviously, anything that has lance, higher volume of stuff is going to be important, because you can't. I ran the Vanquishers
quality at this point.
Yeah. I ran the Vanquishers into them. I had 3 Vanquishers on the table, and we said I got 1 shot through, and I rolled a 1, so it was D6 + 1 damage, or 6 + 1, and it just wasn't enough. So I don't think those are the answer. They're going to work. You can run Gladiator, Lancers, and Marines, and you at some point you'll get a favorable roll where the Satan player will fail a bunch of invulns and you'll kill one, but you can't rely on that because it does not take that much to change any of that damage output. Especially for the Marine stuff, you always still have to roll for damage. There's no fixed damage amount. I think you just have to look at consistently any kind of ways you can do mortal wounds are going to be huge. Even, like a Brutalis Dreadnought, he does impact mortals when he charges, plus he can throw tank shock on there. He's strength 12. If he's going into the Oath target, he's going to be re-rolling his hits in combat, re-rolling his wounds because he's twin-linked. He's going to be wounding on 2s. Like, that's the kind of thing that's going to give you more consistency than... I mean, even I thought in Blood Angels and Rage Cursed Onslaught, you could take Assault Centurions, not Devastator, Assault ones, because they get 4 attacks apiece. But if you battle shock them, they get up to 6 attacks. They're hitting on 3s, sustained 2 into vehicles and monsters and fortifications, and they're strength 10, but they go to strength 11 if you use the strat to give them the extra AP and the extra strength, and to battle shock them, and then they're 3 damage and they're twin linked, so just like, oh, it's going to take an enormous volume of attacks. Sustain 2 into your oath target. The rerolls, it's gonna be an enormous amount of damage into anything really, but it's gonna have enough volume to kind of offset the swinginess. So you need to look at stuff that's gonna be able to wound them on 4s, gonna get past that invuln, the armor save, looking for that break point of going from strength 5 to strength 6, that sort of thing. As in general, as far as Librarius specifically, I did really well this weekend. Into everyone I played. My last game, and obviously I lost to you by 4 points. I still scored a 76, which is not a bad loss. You kept you to an 80, which is your lowest score of the tournament, I think.
Yep.
And then the last game I played Ray, I beat him by 26 points. And then the other 3 games I won by like 40 to 50. Even one of them was a 60-point win. And I was concerned about my ability to score secondaries. In the 2 Necron matchups, I took the fixed secondaries for Assassinate and Bring It Down. But the other ones, I was playing tactical and still was able to score really well. All my scores, other than your game, were in the 90s. The last game in the Ray, I was 76. But day 1, I scored all in the 90s, 90, 92, 96. So I was really impressed how it was performed. I'm going to tweak some things in it, but I'm probably going to try that. The end of this month, I'm going to CAG Bash. It's a GT in Cincinnati. I'm probably going to run Librarius there. We'll see what happens over the next month, how I feel about things. But it did really well. I want to tweak some things, but I'm really happy with it. Like I said, it was just able. I was worried about the matchup in the Marines because he had so many units. And then I was worried about the Clamp Pack, but the 4-up invulns on Marines just make them last so much longer than if they didn't have that. So yeah, and check out our other video where I talk about my secret Inquisitor tech.
You will still see Catans on the channel. I do have some stuff I want to run. There was a list I ran a while back with my Canoptic that I was really starting to like that had the Void Dragon in it. I might bring that one back out. I was really happy with like not only the list, but I was doing more painting work with it, getting more base work done. I liked how it looked.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, sure, Satans for flavor, not the main course.
Exactly, and
if you want to run 4 Satans again, you can find someone else to come on and play that game with you.
Well, you never know, because if we don't see any changes and you want to tweak it, you may want to run another spar with them again.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, yeah, if you're going to see Catan still, because they are still a very big power piece. I'm expecting that the amount that we take is going to get reduced, but I do want to mess with it with that Canoptic Corp because I was really liking that list. And one of the issues was the Void Dragon was too slow and not reliable enough. But because his role was to help me finish off vehicles. Now, with the new data sheet, new everything to it, and the movement change, I feel like going back to that list, that was everything that I needed for that list to come full circle and just be put back together. It was so close to being right where I wanted it to be, and that was the piece it was missing. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying to give that another try again in the future. But I think the biggest thing is right now we need to get back to just 1 Catan per detachment as the restriction, and it will clean up a lot of stuff. Don't mess with their data sheets. Leave them alone. They're very strong. They're very good. They're a lot of fun to play. Not fun to play against when there's 3, 4, 5 of them on the table, And in some ways, it kind of starts getting into the whole Chaos Gods thing of it, of like, why is Zench and Khorne fighting together? Yeah, I get that demons can do it out of their demon codex, but man, even that seems kind of weird. I like the fact that we're going kind of with demons in the sense of like they're specific to that one god, and you can get some of the other troops underneath them. Cool, that feels better. But man, Zench and Khorne should not be fighting on the battlefield together. We already had to deal with that enough with allies. I don't want to see that again. All right, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, we talked for a while.
Oh yeah, we did. We could talk. Yeah, we're too tired to play 40K, but we can't. We made it through that. But next week we'll get back in the 40K things. I got both of us. Like I said, we both have a bunch of stuff we want to try. Got some cute lists, got some cool lists. There's one adorable little combo I want to try here in the near future. Lane's got some stuff that is kind of like cutesy that we'll see if it can work out. And we'll throw these lists up here and for everyone's entertainment. All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.